I'm back! Hi loves, it's Scott here and I'm back again for another video. If you don't know me, I'm a British drag queen named Tonic who's been based in Prague for the past 3.5 years. Currently identify as a gay man who dresses like a woman for performance art, entertainment, gender expression and activism. In the last video, we discussed the controversy around Prague Pride and it being funded by Prague City Council. We heard from a number of guests, and if you haven't seen that video, there is a link right below. But today it's time to once again strap on that strap on because we're about to get into part 2. Now I'll pass you over to a very sweaty looking Tonic for some more information. In today's episode, I sit down with Tomio Okamura's younger gay brother, Osamu Okamura, to discuss his brother's actions. So, does Osamu feel the same way as his brother? Does he hate his brother for the way he has spoken out about people like him? Does he believe he shouldn't have the right to get married? Or is he just another person putting up with a homophobic relative? Let's find out. So I'm just waiting for Osamu to arrive. A little bit nervous, but I think it's going to be a good interview. Yeah. So firstly, thank you for being here. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem. So a lot of people know you as Tomio Okamura's younger gay brother, but I know that you're also like a very successful architect. So can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, actually you said almost everything. When you look at my Wikipedia page, it says exactly that I am the younger brother of Tomio Okamuras and I'm a gay. So these are the two most important things, apparently, of my biography. But in fact, I am a dean of the Faculty of Arts and Architecture of the Technical University in Ruairc, and I would say my specialization is in the city for everyone. So it's about this justice in a city and in a public space.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's amazing. So obviously Tomio has come under some fire recently in the press for his views on homosexuality. I just wonder, what's your relationship like with Tomio and what was it like coming out to him?
Our relationship as brothers is very good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are in contact. We just have normal, I would say, relationship. And coming out to Tomio, it was not, I wouldn't say it was any problem. I think in our family everyone was kind of surprised because I came out very late, I would say about 40 years old. So basically both my brothers were surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how does it make you feel like as a gay man when you see the sort of stuff he's saying? Does it, do you kind of separate what he says and him being your brother? Or does it kind of upset you to know that he's saying those things when he has a gay brother like you as well?
No, he is my brother. He always will be my brother. We just have different views on the world and different different life experiences, and so our ideas are quite different.
Yeah. So the reason I found out about Tomio was because he shared a picture of me on his Facebook page to his followers, and it was a picture basically saying that the Pirati Party want to give money to Prague Pride to fund it, and it would be better spent elsewhere. I was just wondering what your opinion is on that and if you think that Prague Pride does deserve the money.
Of course, yeah. I'm attending Prague Pride every year. I've been to the Pride even before it was in Prague, it was in Brno. Mm-hmm. That was one of my first Prague Prides. It was in the time when in Prague it was not yet allowed, and the mayor of Prague in that time said that never ever will such an event happen in Prague. Yeah. So the first Prides in Brno, there were more policemen than the people in the let's say the participants. Yeah. And people were spitting from the windows on us and shouting a real bad slogan. And it was, of course, for us a great festival where we felt really free. We really enjoyed this kind of atmosphere of acceptance, of this kind of freedom, of joy and happiness. And so I'm very happy Prague is also supporting minorities of any kind and are also welcoming this, let's say, colorfulness, the differences in society and between people. So for me it's very important, of course, not only politically but also personally. That's something that is very important for the, let's say, LGBTI people plus to to do, just to show themselves also as being LGBTI, because the majority people will not do it for them. So it's basically on us to show we exist, and to say that we should have equal rights and protection from the state as all other people.
No, I mean, I totally agree. That's amazing that you said that. What is your family dynamic like? If your brother is thinking this way, and it seems to me like you're completely polar opposites in your beliefs. Has he always felt this way, or is this something that's new in his life?
First of all, my brother is not homophobic at all. He has no problem with gay people, LGBTI people at all. When he was working with the in the tourist business before he became a politician, he was promoting gay tourism in Prague. Also later, when he had his first political movement, he was even offering me if I would like to be a candidate for his movement, political candidate for the city of Prague, because he thought because Prague is quite liberal, that it would actually address a certain, let's say, target group that he would just like to address. And I just asked him, do you think it's a good idea? You know, I'm gay, and I don't think your majority voters are actually maybe that liberal or open. And he said he has absolutely no problem with that. That's just to illustrate that it's not that black and white at all. And as for the question with the marriage, of course, we had some argument a little bit. Even we don't have so many political arguments recently or ever, because maybe Tomio would like to promote his ideas towards me, and he always does, but I have a lot of other things to do basically, and it's just, for me, it's a little bit exhausting because our views are so different. But I think he never, I would say, he would never. There is always he is open to some discussion. Even his ideas, I would say, are very different. Sometimes I think if I should not be more involved in our talks, but I don't have so much energy. For him, is his main, let's say, how to say, job, or to be a politician. For me, it's architecture, urban planning. So I understand that he's investing a lot of time to these in these topics, but I just have to little bit think as for the time management, where I put my time and whatnot. But when it becomes this personal, as now, for example, of course, he even named me yesterday in the House of in the Parliament personally. So of course I cannot stand by. I just have to respond. So that's why also I'm very open to these talks, especially in the case when somebody is really harmed personally by something that my brother says. I really feel also offended, and I really feel that I need to respond.
Because I've seen that he's been kind of saying like I can't be homophobic because I have a gay brother. So I guess he does it ever feel like he's kind of using you to come across as less homophobic, or to kind of persuade people that his view is correct with homosexuality?
I think he's just not for the gay marriage, and he's not for the, let's say, for the adoptions by same-sex couples.
And you disagree with that?
It has nothing to do with being against, being homophobic or being against LGBT people. So even me, I identify myself as being gay. Even, of course, for me, it's also a little bit, let's say, how to say, the definition is a little bit fluid, no, kind of. But I think even myself, because I'm not specialist in sociology or in psychology or anything like that. I have also some questions about the adoptions by the same-sex partners. Yeah, so I don't know much about it, and I have maybe more questions than answers in this moment. Yeah, so I'm open towards that, but I don't know actually how it works, if it works well or not, if it's good idea, if it's always good idea, or if there are some exceptions where it works better, when it's not working well. So let's maybe diversify the discussion more and go into more detail, because saying my brother is homophobic is simply not true.
What about adoption makes you question it with homosexual couples? Is it to do with their relationships? What makes you question that, or have some doubts in your mind that would be a positive thing?
Yeah, I would maybe start with the marriage. Yeah, for marriage is for me absolutely clear thing. Yeah, there is nothing to doubt. I have no doubts about it. I have absolutely no questions about it. For me, it's more question why it's not here already. Yeah, and why we have to wait for it, or why we have to even discuss it. Yeah, it's just, you know, I have of course a lot of my friends are like in a partnership relationship for many years, and would definitely very much appreciate being married. And of course the number of people who are in a more permanent relationship in the LGBT community is also growing, I would say, with this kind of possibility to have this kind of institutionalized partnership, right? But again, I don't have much knowledge about it, because so it's just my estimation or my, let's say, belief it could work like that, or it works like that. But in the same time, as for the adoptions, for me it's quite clear when one of the parents is biological parent of the child. I have no doubts about it. Again, if the adoption is in between the same-sex couple and one of the kids is biological father or mother of the kid, no problem. Absolutely. I have no doubts about it. Simply, the only thing I don't know much about, I don't know many cases, I don't have much information about, is about the adoption by the same-sex partners who adopt a kid that is not biologically connected with them at all. So in that case, I don't know. I simply don't know. I believe it would be great. It could work, but it's just my belief, and I would just need to have some more information. Maybe you have.
I mean, for me, I do know some people that have been raised in same-sex couple relationships. My neighbour growing up was raised in a same-sex relationship couple, and he had an amazing home life. He was adopted because his mum was a drug addict when he was born. So if he grew up in that household, he would have been much more worse off in that heterosexual household. But he was raised in with this lesbian couple, and the only issue he ever had was being bullied in school, because people would look at this and be like, oh, you have two mums, like your mum's a lesbian. So it was more a case of how society treated him because of having homosexual parents, rather than the actual parenting skills of those parents. So I think if we want to help children who want to be adopted by homosexual parents, maybe we need to remove the stigma around it, because I think that would actually benefit the children more than them not being adopted and maybe being stuck in these orphanages or being stuck with these drug addicted parents.
That one thing that was I was just immediately questioning when hearing yesterday my brother saying that he was in the orphanage or in the, let's say, children home, because orphanage is for the kids that don't have parents. That was not our case. That's why I'm just hesitating calling it orphanage, because there were very often kids that do have parents. Only the parents at the moment, you for example mentioned the drug addicts. In our case it was the serious illness that was quite temporary. But we did have parents. So when my brother says that for him it would be, he has this experience being in this children's home, and as being a person with this experience, he would never accept being adopted to the same-sex family, same-sex partners family. it's he cannot compare it to someone who would have no parents at all, because we did have parents at that time.
Yeah.
We did have a father. He was just working in Japan to earn for the family, so he couldn't come for I know we were in the children's home maybe 5-6 months in total. Yeah. So he was earning in there. My mom, our mom was in the hospital in Prague. So we did have parents. So of course for us it would be definitely very difficult to accept to be adopted by anyone else than our parents.
Right.
Yeah. So I completely agree with my brother that I would be very unhappy to be adopted by the same-sex couple because we did have parents. So
Right.
so his argument is completely false and wrong, because he cannot compare his experience to the kids who have no parents. Yeah, or the parents just have no contact with parents, and there is no interest from the parents to be in contact. Yeah, so or they are complete orphans, or they are just completely alone. So in that case, I think the psychology of the kid might be completely different. Yeah, and as we saw in this exchange of the wives, for example, documentary, with Matěj Stropnický and David. So they got immediately some calls after this TV show from some kids or from a girl from the children's home who is an orphan maybe. That she would like to be immediately adopted to their same-sex relationship. Yeah. So. I think this is something that is again my brother is trying to turn it into a strong personal story, but that is actually misleading. Yes.
Do you think he's doing that intentionally?
I wouldn't say so, but could be. Yeah. For him, it's of course very strong argument that he was in this situation.
Yeah.
But he was in a different situation, not in the situation of an orphan or of a kid with no parents.
Yeah.
He was not in that situation, so he cannot really speak for this specific group of kids. Yeah, he cannot. Yeah, simply. And that's something that is very important to always diversify and speak about these little details. Yeah, because also the media sometimes they just generalize. They make things simpler or simplified.
Yeah.
They say this is bad, this is good, this is white, this is black. My brother is homophobic because something. It's not like that. It's much more complicated. It has many more layers. And so let's speak about let's say more specifically.
Yeah, I mean, we should always have a discussion. I think shutting people down by just saying you're homophobic or you're racist is not a way to open a conversation, for sure. Can you understand why people think he's homophobic, though? I mean, one of his statements, he said, I would rather jump from a window than be adopted by a homosexual couple. So basically saying he would rather kill himself than be adopted. I think to a lot of gay people, they would see that as a homophobic statement, and probably to a lot of homophobic people, they'd probably see that as a homophobic statement. So I think in a lot of ways it could empower people that already have these homophobic tendencies to be more forefront with their opinions and their thoughts. Just like in America with Trump, maybe he doesn't say anything specifically racist, but the rhetoric he uses can be taken in that way, and then people feel empowered to act in a racist way, and hate crime goes up and all of these things. So do you agree with what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can see the danger of that. Of course, I can see the danger. Yeah. But I think we should be still maybe able to go into the more detail. Even it could happen or could be easily understood, as you said. Yeah.
Do you think it's maybe irresponsible to speak in this way? Because it could, even if he's not homophobic and he wants to avoid hate crimes against gay people, it could be taken in that way. Do you think if he doesn't want to hurt gay people, it could be the bad way to go about it?
Yeah, I would say it's not very let's say diplomatic. It is definitely I would say it's harming the gay people. It could be dangerous, for sure. Yeah, it's just escalating the problem instead of finding the ways how to solve it. For me. So this is really the rhetoric is not really, let's say, constructive, in a way.
Yeah, exactly. I think it alienates gay people and it also empowers homophobic people. So if you want to have a discussion and you want to talk about gay people adopting, we can have that discussion like we are now. Maybe you have questions and I'd be totally willing to answer those questions and we can have a civilized debate. But when you say things like I'd rather kill myself, then obviously people on both sides are going to get super offended.
Totally.
So do you think as his brother there's anything that you can do? I know it's not your responsibility to obviously make your brother do anything or say anything, but do you think there's any way you can get through to him and maybe explain that this is not the right way to go about it?
Yeah, I think it's not so much about words maybe at the end for me, because this is I think that I believe in this kind of a soft power maybe in a way. For me it's important that we do communicate with my brother, and we basically share some ideas, we let's say see each other in different situations that are quite different, and I believe in power of empathy, just maybe more the let's say mental work to do. So I think it's just needs a bit more time. I wouldn't say that some argument would really work between me and my brother, not really. It's important to show that we gay people, we are around, we are people and humans, and we have we just contribute to the world the equal or a different way than the others, and that we should just be accepted or respected same way, and we should have the same rights and protection as other people.
No, I totally agree, and I think what you said about having conversation I think is very important. I think conversation is really needed. I mean I'd be willing to talk to him if he'd want to talk to me. I don't know if he'd want to talk to a drag queen, but maybe. Do you think he would want to talk to someone like me, or he'd be open to have that kind of conversation with a person?
I don't know. But might be. I don't know. He would probably have no problem to speak personally with anyone. Only he's quite hesitating to be confronted with some media kind of So when it's on record, I think that could be that could have some limitations from him. That's my experience from the past when we were addressed by the documentary filmmaker who did a document about us three brothers and about our political ideas and about our relationships. And Tomio, he actually refused to participate in that documentary, because he just selects and he shapes and co-creates his media image by himself. So he doesn't want to be, let's say, in the position of having no control. And he's definitely trying to avoid it. That's for sure. When he was not in politics, he was in the travel business, tourist business. He looked for any possible, let's say, situation where he could speak to media with no special selection, I would say. But since he is in politics, he definitely is less willing to cooperate with media that are critical to him, because it doesn't bring him basically any political profit or benefit. So he just naturally says, why should I do that, right? So I think that's definitely the situation with the online media, when you can address your target groups without using mainstream media at all. And he is using it as a main communication tool, so he doesn't need really, I would say, any other media much. So that's why I would say that in person, I think he wouldn't have problem to talk with you, but on media.
I understand. Yeah, he wants to control his image like any politician. Yeah, for sure. If you could say one thing to some people in the Czech Republic who might be queer, they might be seeing what's going on the TV right now with your brother and with other things that are happening, with the comments on all of these things with Prague Pride. If you could speak to those queer people, what would you say to them about their coming out or the kind of difficulties they're going through right now?
Yeah, I would definitely encourage them to be themselves, to really enjoy their let's say human their human side they were given, and to be self-confident in a way that is very difficult when you are young, when you are a kid, to the parents who are not very let's say open-minded or are very traditional. It was a case of me. And so I just would like to give the courage to the kids that it's really worth to work in a way to become himself, herself, in her life, and show it to the world at the end. Yes, so I think that's the best thing to do, and I know it's not always easy. For me, it also was not easy, and but I very much believe it's the best we can do. Actually, there is also one thing that is that I don't know much about. If there is couple like two moms or two dads, like if there is any difference, or what is the difference? Yeah, so I really don't know. Maybe it's just my projection that because the role of mom and dad also in the family is kind of little bit different, or in the, let's say, in European at least Central European model. So I can imagine that the moms are the ones that are really caring, like all the time, and this maternity kind of whatever. And especially when there is a very direct biological connection to the kid of one of the partners, I can see it perfectly. While with two dads, I have no experience at all. I have no idea if actually biologically or psychologically how it would work, if it would work, and so it also is difficult to generalize, of course, because case to case, right?
That's what I would say is that every person's different, right? Men and women. So some men are more caring and gentle, some women are less caring and gentle, some women are more strong and powerful. There are different stereotypes that we have for these people, but then it doesn't necessarily mean that two men wouldn't be able to care for a child and give it as much love and attention as two women or a man and a woman. I would also mention that there's a lot of single parents out there.
Exactly.
So
I was
mostly raised by a single mum, and I think that she taught me loads of stuff about the way to live. I did have my dad in my life, kind of, but I don't think it affected the way I was brought up. I know people who had single dads. I don't think that it necessarily damaged me in any way or affected me in any way. So yeah, what would you think about single parents and how that might affect the child as having one kind of gender as your parent?
Yeah, because I know many examples of single moms, but I don't have many examples of single dads. That's maybe why it's more difficult for me to imagine. Also in between my friends or hetero friends, there are several single moms, of course. But I don't know maybe about a single man.
So do you think it's more like a lack of knowledge rather than like a
it could be,
worry?
It's not really worry. It's like just it would be interesting for me to know more, so that I would feel like it's possible. Because it's not happening as often, or often enough. So and my questions are why,
I saw a story in the UK recently about a man who's a single gay man who adopted a Down syndrome little girl because no one else would adopt her, and 9 people had tried to adopt her but taken her back, and he finally gave her a home and all the love that and posting videos of playing with her all the time. So I think it's amazing that some gay people are willing to do that, and now she's going to have that family that she might not have had. She might have had to grow up in foster care, know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it case to case,
I
definitely.
think it's super individual, and also it's
Yeah.
difficult to compare, of course, a heterosexual man, heterosexual woman to let's say homosexual man or homosexual woman. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like it's of course these let's say gender stereotypes or bipolar kind of is not working in this case. So it's really difficult to say if actually gay man or gay dad if he's like closer to the dad or mom role in a way, or it's almost
Yeah.
kind of a mixture, right? And so it's this in this way. I think it's quite individual. I would like to learn more about than having some, let's say, doubts or some, let's say, being against or resisting it, you know.
Yeah, the one thing I'd say about adoption as well is that when you have to adopt someone, whether you're straight or gay, you have to go through such an intense process. They'll check your house, they'll check everything about you. But being a heterosexual couple, you can just have a baby whenever you want, right? And no one's going to check, do you have enough money? Do you have the right household to raise that child? Right. And a lot of children end up in poverty, end up in awful homes where they get beaten. So children that are adopted are much more likely, in my opinion, to be raised in a good household than because they're checked before than compared to maybe a heterosexual couple that has a child accidentally or by some sort of by an accident. So what would you think about that? What would you say to maybe that people would be better off being adopted?
There's nothing to say to
agree?
that much. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for me, I don't want to adopt or have children personally, but I think everyone should have the right to adopt and have a child, especially if the child wants to be adopted. You know, you mentioned that story where that girl wrote the letter to the gay couple asking to be adopted. So telling a child that they can't be adopted and telling a parents that want to adopt them that they can't do it is kind of a crazy thing, right? Who's winning in the situation? Who are we protecting?
Yeah, perfect.
Clearly, there's a lot to discuss and unpack here, and Scott will be doing that with you later. But for now, let's hear from someone who was actually raised by same-sex parents, Ruairc Foster. Hi Ruairc, thanks for joining me.
That's alright, it's good to be here.
Yeah, thanks. So, as you've known, I've told you a little bit about the situation in the Czech Republic at the moment. We've got some issues with them trying to pass equal marriage, and there's some issues with adoption rights and same-sex couples being able to adopt children. I know you weren't adopted, but you were raised by a same-sex couple. I was just wondering if you could tell me how that came about and what was your personal experience with that?
Well, it started when my two mums got together, and after a few years of being together and even managed to get married when it wasn't necessarily legal in this country to get married, they decided they wanted to have a kid, so asked a friend of theirs to be a sperm donor, and then eventually my biological mum gave birth to me and they raised me together.
What was it like for you being raised by two women? So a lot of people are saying you don't get this masculine kind of energy and it's not the same.
One of the most common questions I had growing up was, isn't it weird to have two mums, or isn't it weird to have gay parents? And for someone who's had that their whole lives, or even for most of their life, that isn't weird because that's all you've known. That's what's normal for you. No, I don't think having two mums impacted me in terms of not gaining masculinity. It's not something you have to get from a father, and even so, there are plenty of male role models for young children to take on from the public eye, from teaching professions. So having two mums doesn't restrict your masculinity at all. If anything, it teaches you to respect women a lot more and makes you a little bit more accepting.
Yeah. So would you say that most of the negativity was people saying things to you? So you said that they would say, isn't it weird? What other kind of things would you get? What other things would they say?
I mean, throughout school, I got bullied on and off for years regarding the fact that I was abnormal, as they would say, or it would be a weird situation. And I'd also get asked quite a lot who my real mum was.
Yeah.
But for me, that wasn't a question you could answer because they're both my real mum. Whichever one gave birth to me is irrelevant. They raised me together and they were both my mums.
Yeah.
So, it was just these stupid questions. just standard for me, but it's no different for anyone just having two parents.
So what would be your message to any politicians in the Czech Republic who are opposing the right for gay people to adopt, and to those parents who are wanting to adopt but not able to?
I mean, at the end of the day, all you're doing by restricting that is preventing children who need loving families and loving parents that opportunity.
Yeah.
The fact of what gender they are, what they identify themselves as, is irrelevant as long as you can make sure that they are given the correct care and the love that they deserve. It's not appropriate for a gay couple to raise a child is completely backwards, because there are thousands of us throughout the world who can sit here and say that if anything, it's made our upbringing more positive than negative, and it's just a very outdated view now.
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say I'm sorry it's been so long making this video and releasing it from the last one. Just thinking about how I want to end the video. So what I've decided to do is kind of leave it as an open conversation. I want to keep the conversation open in the comments. What do you guys think about this? What do you think about the Osamu situation, the Tomio situation, and everything else? Since the last video, this picture appeared online. And this article appeared online. So it's clear this is still an ongoing situation. Actually, one of the drag queens that was featured in one of Tomio's homophobic pictures now suing him. So I've also been looking into this, and you never know, maybe there'll be a part 3 video. If you want me to sue him, comment below. I do just want to talk briefly about a couple of things that Osamu mentioned. One thing he mentioned was about his brother not being homophobic. I did think maybe I should have challenged him more on it. You know, his brother loves him and he's a gay man, so he doesn't view him as possibly homophobic, but I can tell that he doesn't love the queer community. But rather than argue over this kind of abstract idea of homophobic, I preferred to talk about policy and actual issues that are going on that we can disagree on and argue about. Also, Osamu mentioned that he wasn't sure about adoption for queer couples. That was quite shocking to me, that he was like confused about that. To me, it's like a no-brainer. If two people love each other, they should be allowed to adopt. So I was really happy to be able to include a video from my family friend Ruairc from back in the UK, explaining his situation and how he was raised by a same-sex couple. So Osamu, if you're watching, I hope you saw that and maybe you've changed your mind, who knows. Alright guys, so I'm going to leave the video there. I really hope you enjoyed this series. I just want to thank everyone who was involved. I couldn't have done this without you. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, which is somewhere on the screen here. I think it's here. So you can see my next video. I will be uploading more videos, not in this series probably, unless I end up suing Tomio Okamuras. But yeah, let me know in the comments also what you would like to see from me more. Do you want to see makeup tutorials? Do you want to see me doing some interviews on the street with random Czech people? Do you want to see me doing some comedy, some performances? Let me know. Alright guys, hope you have an amazing day. Stay safe, stay queer, and I love you. Bye!